Okay, testing, 1, 2, 3. Does anyone pick me up? Okay, testing, 1, 2, 3. Does anyone pick me up through the mic? Excuse me. Well, I just heard it in my smartphone, which I'm using as a means to as a means to view the chat, because I'm actually working on a different computer. So anyway, hello guys, this is Lameguy64, and I'm doing another random lame stream where I'll be streaming whatever I feel like wanting to stream. So right now I'm gonna stream a bunch of MS-DOS and maybe some Windows 3.11 stuff. Old school computers goodness, more or less. What you're seeing right now is actually captured from a real computer. What you're seeing right now is actually captured from a real computer, a real vintage computer. A 1992 8386 to be exact, at 40 megahertz. And my method of capturing it was is via a VGA to its video adapter, which is then captured by one of my computers, which has a video capture card, which then streams the captured video over to my main computer, which it then transcodes it and then streams it further to YouTube. So it's a very elaborate process. There's like it's a very elaborate process. There's like 3 computers running just to get this stream going, because I cannot fit my one of my best capture cards I have on hand in my main computer, because it doesn't have any PCI slots, so I have to use a separate computer to do the analog video capturing and then streaming the video toward to my main computer for streaming it onto YouTube. I think it works, and the only problem with this setup is that there's actually a bit of a delay between the computer that's capturing and then the actual main streaming PC. So the gameplay is actually 4 seconds late than my voice. I know whatever you're hearing or seeing of the DOS machine is actually 2 or 4 seconds late than my voice. But I've set an offset to correct that, and I hope that should do the trick. If you guys are more active on the chat, you could like message me if my voice is lagging behind from the video or it's ahead. So yeah, wait, I'm gonna do some further checking. Okay, looks like everything's ready, and let's do some MS-DOS gaming. Okay, looks like everything's ready, and let's do some MS-DOS gaming goodness. So yeah, this is actually MS-DOS Edit, a text editor that comes included with DOS and Windows 95 and 98, and even up to Windows XP. And this red block here is actually your mouse cursor in text mode. For text mode. So let's exit this program. Let's just save this so I don't have to type that ASCII art anymore. Next time I need to do I want to do a 3D6 stream. So yeah, this is MS-DOS. Welcome to the wonderful world of DOS. This was before Windows that computers used to run a long time ago. So everything is all command line driven. You type in commands here to list files. So since we're gonna do some gaming, let's go to the games directory and let's list the contents. I have a bunch loaded onto my 386 here, and it's whopping 520 megabyte hard drive. So yeah, I'm just gonna put on my headphones so I could like hear the gameplay. I feel like wanting to play a lot. So yeah, I feel like wanting to play a lot some Alpha Waves, which was one of the an early 3D platformer from the 1990s for the IBM for PC compatibles and the Commodore Amiga. So let's get onto it.
Also in DOS, file names are limited to 8.3.
Also in DOS, file names are limited to 8.3. Naming convention.
Play some Alpha Waves. Very obscure game, but it's also
So let's
very
play some Alpha Waves. Very obscure game, but it's also very interesting. And the graphics are very aesthetic, for lack of a better word. So for this game, I had to turn off turbo so that the speed will be more accurate.
I'm getting a lot of FFmpeg errors.
I'm getting a lot of FFmpeg errors. For some reason.
It looks fine.
So does anyone hear the gameplay? Everyone should hear the gameplay properly. So let's delve into this, shall we?
So basically, from what I gathered so far from playing this game, the goal is.
So basically, from what I gathered so far from playing this game, the goal is to basically jump your way across as many rooms as possible, and then collect like star pieces. It has an this is a very primitive 3D platformer because it has tank controls. But you have an undo feature, so you can like quick save and quick load. So like, if I memorize, it saves that.
The
thing is, you have to. The thing is, while you're trying to locate and collect these star pieces, you have to do it within a time limit. Otherwise, game over. You get extra time if you visit new rooms. So you have to like visit as many new rooms as quickly as possible. Oh, great. I should have done that earlier. I could perhaps do this room quicker. There we go.
This game actually makes better use of the ad-lib sound chipset.
This game actually makes better use of the ad-lib sound chipset. And some of the music of it is actually pretty good. Cool sounding for the ad-lib. Remember, this is 1990. Most common sound card wasn't even capable. I don't know. One of the earliest PC sound cards didn't even support digital audio, just FM synthesis. The ad-lib card actually has a very similar sound quality to the Sega Genesis because they use what is more or less an identical audio chip, FM synth chip. Well, perhaps with fewer channels.
So here's the map, and the blinking squares are.
So here's the map, and the blinking squares are rooms that you've visited already, and ones that are not blinking are rooms that you haven't visited yet. So I want to go up.
It's not very difficult to tell if the part of the room.
It's not very difficult to tell if the part of the room is the front, the top, because there's a red small distincting line.
There's no reverse in this game. You can only go
Great.
forward.
And there's no reverse in this game. You can only go forward. Probably the only one on YouTube who's playing this game at the correct speed. Because most of the videos I've seen of this game look like they're running on a 486. And that's way too fast for this game, which incidentally makes it unplayable. So where am I? Oh, high treason. Oh, that sounds very redundant to say. Yeah, I don't like the futuristic aesthetic that that people are taking these days. I like the old-fashioned the old school futuristic style more. Another star piece here. Oh, great. Uh-oh. What the heck was that?
Please, tell me if my voice is...
Please, tell me if my voice is a bit late compared to the action, compared to the gameplay. Oh great, should have saved there. Also when your memory recall, it resets your time to when you've saved, so... Well, it was interesting sound. I don't know if you guys caught that. Ah, so close.
I didn't make this game, Uncle Herman. Also hi.
I didn't make this game, Uncle Herman. Also hi. Welcome to the stream. This is made in 1990. I wasn't even born at the time. I'm born in 1996. So I'm playing something that was made before I even existed. There we go. Recall.
This game reminds me of ZX Spectrum Adventure.
This game reminds me of ZX Spectrum Adventure games like Jet Set Wheelie, for example, where you basically go from room to room, and then each room has its own has a name. And that's also the loudest sound effect you'll ever hear from the game. That all sound effects are FM synth. Oh great. Window shock.
There isn't much in the way of enemies in this game, only things that sort of...
There isn't much in the way of enemies in this game, only things that sort of just knock you around. I know, there are no enemies that hurt you other than, well, knocking you around, which can hinder your progress. Oh great. like that wire thing, it sort of nudges you towards it.
How are the volume levels though? Is my voice being obscured by the game?
How are the volume levels though? Is my voice being obscured by the game audio? Oh, hi Geminopolix. Welcome to my random MS-DOS game stream. I'm playing Alpha Waves from 1990 for for PC compatibles. What do you think so far? Also, are the volume levels good? I gotta get through here quickly because time limit. Hooray for crappy collision detection. Now where am I? I'm at the edge. Perhaps I could enter the dream. Ah, it's locked. Can't enter the dream sector yet. I need to regain some time by moving from room to room. I think I ended up on another section. The develop section.
I didn't make this game. Alpha Waves was made in 1990.
I didn't make this game. Alpha Waves was made in 1990. I didn't even exist at that time.
I'm playing some old DOS games.
I'm just playing some old DOS games. PC games from the 90s, more or less. Memorize.
I actually know how to make DOS game.
I actually know how to make DOS game, MS-DOS games.
Oh my gosh.
But I'm mostly focused on Project Scarlet at the moment. Oh my gosh, this room is running too fast, to be honest.
The timer doesn't, I don't think the timer uses
and the timer does I don't think the timer uses the system clock, so it doesn't actually count down in real world. Oh great. I'm screwed. Well, I was meaning to press memory recall and not memorize. Wait, I gotta get up here before the time limit. Oh man, what the heck happened? These molecule things. They send you flying and they touch you.
Enemies here don't actually kill you, it just knocks you around.
Enemies here don't actually kill you, it just knocks you around. Which for a game where you have to jump across rooms as quickly as possible can actually be a problem.
I'm probably the only one on YouTube so far that has streamed this game. As far as
I'm probably the only one on YouTube so far that has streamed this game. As far as I'm aware. People streaming old DOS games on real DOS machines are rare. I mean, I'm playing this on a computer from 1992 that's still working. And I had to prepare like some kind of very elaborate capture setup just to stream this.
By the way, I need to check
Great.
the audio, voice and gameplay synchronization. So,
By the way, I need to check the
message
audio,
me on the
voice
chat
and gameplay
as soon as
synchronization. So,
I
message me on the chat as soon as I
say go.
hit, as soon as I
1, 2,
say
3,
go.
go.
So, 1, 2, 3,
Delayed from
go.
the screen transition.
Is my go delayed from the screen transition?
How long? I'm gonna adjust the
And if so, tell me how long.
the offsets.
Because I'm gonna adjust the time offs, the offsets. Great.
Yeah, because most people just stream PUBG.
Yeah, because most people just stream PUBG. PUBG.
Well, there are those who stream, but most usually just resort to emulators.
Well, there are those who stream, but most usually just resort to emulators like DOSBox.
How big of a delay was that, though? From when I said go and then
How big of a delay was that, though? From when I said go and then the gameplay change.
Okay. Oh, I'm floating.
Okay.
Guys, zero gravity?
Oh, I'm floating. Zero gravity? Interesting. Okay, where am I now on the map?
We've actually gone quite far.
We've actually gone quite far. There we go.
Gravity.
Oh, inverse gravity.
Uh-oh. This is interesting. The game actually has different
Uh-oh.
gravities.
This is interesting. The game actually has different gravities. Interesting.
Oh, that's interesting, Gmonopolics. What game development
Oh,
framework
that's
are you
interesting,
using?
Gmonopolics.
Using
What
Unity
game development
or
framework
you
are
make from
you
scratch
is your
in
class
C++
using?
or
Unity,
Java?
or you make from scratch
Oh,
in
hi,
C++
Megakid.
or Java?
Hello.
Oh, hi, Megakid. Hello. So where do I go?
Right. Oh man, this is
There's no room to the right.
tricky.
Ah man, this is tricky. Recall. Now where do I go here? Perhaps I wanna go up. But I first gotta let this dragon hit me so it could like move up and down because this room has no gravity. Ah, okay. Unity is the most popular 3D engine. 3D, it's a mostly 3D oriented, but it can also be used for 2D. In fact, Ori and the Blind Forest was made in Unity.
Ooh, heavy gravity. I think the reason why the jumping is so heavy.
Ooh, heavy gravity. I think the reason why the jumping is so heavy earlier was because of the gravity setting. Perhaps I'll just let's just teleporter. Ah. Currently concentrated at the moment. Memorize.
Another 0G. Oh, I went back.
Oh, another 0G room. Oh, I went back.
Recall.
Recall. I should have went the other way. I'm wasting time. Oh, great. Okay, there we go. And I fell, but good thing I memorized. Okay, where am I now? Oh, another one of these flying ship things. Dang spaceship things knocking me aside. See that? I wonder if I play like Wolfenstein 3D on stream, YouTube might content ID it because Nazi. I don't know if that actually happens. Let me see the chat. Hey Jimeno, why don't you try to make a game sort of like this in Unity? Hey Jimeno, why don't you try to make a game sort of like this in Unity once you figure out how to use it? Oh man, these spaceship things. And then they kicked me. There's one, there's another. Oh, super jump. There's one, there's another. Oh, super jump. Look at that skill shot, and I missed. Perhaps if you're skilled enough, you could like exploit that to like get across rooms as quickly as possible. You could like try to jump over them to get like a very significant jump boost. Wow. Wow. Ooh, skill shot. Ooh, memorize that. Ooh, fail. Ah, dang it. Ooh, fail. Ah, dang it. I mean to memory recall, but I ended up memorizing. Ah, save quick load options in a menu. That's the problem when you have the quick save, quick load options in a menu, and it does not default to recall. Memorize. I don't have time for this. Ooh, skill shot. Perfect. And good thing I'm in a position where it can easily be replicated. my height level on this?
Oh great, I fell again. Ah.
Oh great, I fell again. Ah. This room is too difficult, I'll go back. Perhaps I go to the right side. I'm pretty much screwed here. That's likely because working with 2D is much easier for a beginner than 3D. I have a feeling that they used to teach Game Maker before Unity was a thing. Too bad there are no game development classes in my country when I was still like in high school and college. In fact, there's barely any arts, art related courses in my country. It was almost a skill shot. That was so close. And then his friend knocks me over. Ah, not again. Ah, not again. Why do I always keep making that mistake? I keep saving on parts where I wanted to reload. Because it doesn't default to memory recall. Why didn't the programmer fix that? Perfect. Finally. Finally. Yay. Let's get spinny rooms. A spinny platform. Why again? Or even some rooms where you would literally get trapped on the bottom. Oh, more flying things. I don't know if they do collision or they're just graphics. That's new. have to move forward a little so I land on that square. The controls of this game feel like as if it was designed for a one-button joystick. I mean, there's only like 4 directions and then one button to move forward.
There are various platform types.
Where did I land there?
Regular bouncy platforms.
There are various platform types in this game. You got the regular bouncy platforms, platforms that only last after a few jumps on it, platforms that rotate, and then platforms that go invisible like that. And it seems the shadow doesn't seem to cast on it for some reason.
There's a big platform.
There's a fake platform. I don't know if that one over there makes a difference.
Oh, this is a real platform. Oh yeah, because this room
Oh, this is the real platform. Oh yeah, because this room is called Illusion. They're fake platforms. My fingers are getting tired from arrow key presses. Now which room to go? Map. To observe doors. Perhaps this is the right way?
It's actually the longest run I've had of
Okay,
this
there we
game
go.
so far.
This is actually the longest run I've had of this game so far.
Yeah, PC keyboard and mouse.
Yeah, PC keyboard and mouse are prevalent, or maybe you're referring to the old flight stick style joystick. Yeah, they're not very prevalent. Most people generally usually just play with keyboard and mouse. Though some games, usually platformers, are best played with a joystick. I need a jump pad here somewhere. There's one.
I noticed many retro game enthusiasts on YouTube
don't really focus much on DOS games. Or maybe it's because I focus on the ones that mainly focus on PC, on console games.
Perhaps it's because DOS gaming
wasn't as popular as console gaming. Timeout. Oh well. Well, at least I beat my scores. So.
At least I managed to get around the game quite far.
At least I managed to get around the game quite far. That's for sure. For fun, let's go to emotion mode, which is basically a practice mode because you don't have a time limit. And don't have a time limit, and you can select any of the levels. So it's more or less a practice mode for you to explore around. Why don't we listen to the other games' soundtracks because they sound pretty jamming, or at least good ones.
Yeah, there are more DOS.
Yeah, there are more DOS retro gamers on YouTube nowadays. I need to rewire my headphones so it'll be louder. Okay, much better for me. One of my favorites is this track.
The AAC compression is gonna ruin.
I think the AAC compression is gonna ruin.
I think it was only for a short period.
I think it was only for a short period. DXF or High Treason. Yeah, I remember. I think Angry Video Game Nerd probably popularized NES games at one point.
Slightly because NES is synonymous to retro at the time.
Slightly because NES is synonymous to retro at that time. This is one of my favorite tracks of the game.
It actually has decent sounding drum instruments.
It actually has decent sounding drum instruments.
Drum sounds like a
Unlike most games that use ad-lib, the drum sounds like a plop rather than a booming sound. Staying around because music's pretty awesome and I want to share it. I also love this track. I always love awesome sounding bass and snare instruments on ad-lib because you don't really hear that very often. This June I think has lots of potential, but it seems very short.
sounds like it has some potential for a.
That sounds like it has some potential for a ad-lib acoustic or something. Getting quite a lot of errors on FFmpeg on the capture PC for some reason, but it looks like it's working well. So yeah, it's alpha waves. Why don't we try out another game? No, it's the map screen of alpha waves Gimenopolix. It's also the level select and music test when you select the emotion mode. You should basically practice or explore mode. Oh, by the way, Gimenopolix, this is MS-DOS. This was before Windows used to ran on PCs. It's all command line driven. So what else? What next to play? Perhaps I kind of want to play Sylphid, which was a 2.5D shooter from Game Arts for the PC-88.
I find the EGA mode of this game looking much better than an MCGA or VGA.
I find the EGA mode of this game looking much better than the MCGA or VGA modes.
This was a Japanese shooter game.
This was a Japanese shooter game from the late 80s for the PC-88, ported and localized to PC compatibles by Sierra. I'll just let this intro play out because I don't know. Well, let's just start the game now. This is an attempt at PC speaker digital audio. You can hear it. Early attempts at digital sound on the PC speaker. Sometimes fascinating. Sound effects should come. This game's sound effects are all on PC speaker. The only audio that's playing on a sound card is the music. I think this is one of the early titles to support ad-lib. Early game, it was common for early games to not support sound effects over ad-lib. So many usually just play sound effects on the PC speaker, but music on the ad-lib. Also, this is one of those games where you have to rapidly spam the fire button, which in this case is a space bar, to fire rapidly, and it hurts. I prefer burst. Every time you hit the fire button, it fires a burst. I much prefer that. You don't have to like button mash like crazy, but I guess it's a Japanese gamer thing. That's why turbo controllers existed. And already my arm feels tired. Ah! Oh, keyboard input error, that's making me going to the side. I don't know much history about the shmup style games, but the thing about this game is that you can actually change your loadout on every stage you complete. For some reason in the Japanese version of this game you can use the laser cannon against those spinning satellite dish things, satellite things, in the original PC version, but in the IBM PC version, if you use the laser cannon at them, the laser will bounce back towards you. How fair? And that makes the game a heck of a lot more difficult. Well, that's what I've heard. The Sega CD version of Sylphid is actually drastically different from the original PC-88 version. And it's also better. It's actually much better. That game actually features actual polygon graphics for the ships only. The level and the levels are actually just FMV. This guy shoots missile things at you. The ships in this game appear to be actual 3D models. I might not be able to make it. I hate it when bosses try to like ram you because it's easy kill. Hey, you're trying to beat me, I'll go ram my ship against you. Then I think I'll go with the phalanx beam. Is it's like a shotgun thing. Oh, the PC crashed. Oh, the PC crashed. It crashed. Nope. Hit reset. Can I control delete? Nope. Hit reset. I'll go fix my monitor. Yeah, game crashes were common in the DOS days, so rebooting is important actually. So memory test 20 megabytes on the 386. So memory test 20 megabytes on the 386. Floppy C, and then DOS startup. I have a custom startup menu for some reason. So first boot is mandatory if you want a game. So first boot is mandatory if you want a game that won't game session that won't be destroyed by a crash. Let's try again. Turn off the turbo. Back to level 1. Perhaps I could try playing better this time. Can't really focus on the chat at the moment unless I finish a level. I'm kind of concentrated. Shield Advance sounds a bit Chinglish. I think a more appropriate term would be Shield Restored. I don't know who was doing the translation in this game, if it was Sierra or Game Arts attempting at trying out English. Yeah, if the partition table were wiped, it would be a problem. I'll have to yank out the hard drive and stick it into a Linux computer to locate the fat file system. Leave. The prototype. Why leave? Oh well, if you need to. The prototype. You'll feel better soon. Oh well, if you need to. Hope you'll feel better soon, though. To be honest, I find watching live streamers. My favorite streamer is Vinny of Vine Sauce. It's just so fun to watch him play. Whatever weird shenanigans he sometimes talks about. I mean, Vinny has his own set of memes that only revolve around his user fan base. I wonder if you can actually damage this guy, the boss, before you actually take on him a bit. So that when the next time you visit him, you meet him, it'll be easier. I wish it worked like that. Uh-oh. I hate bosses that like ram you. Oh wait. Can I like undo? I want the phalanx. Oh wait. Can I like undo? I want the phalanx beam. Oh wow. Never mind. Oh wow. Never mind. I preferred it to be on the right side anyway. I don't know if you guys can tell if the bottom side looks like I don't know if you guys can tell if the bottom looks like a planet's surface or something. Missile ships. Ah, great! I wish I got that phalanx beam. This will be easier to take those missile ships with the phalanx beam. This game also supports the MT-32, and the soundtrack sounds much better on that. But I don't have an MT-32 nor the budget to get one. I wonder if there are actually movies that had soundtracks made with the MT-32, or any high-profile thing that had music made with the MT-32.
Oh, it crashed again.
Oh, it crashed again.
Perhaps I had to
Ah.
Perhaps I had to do a clean boot, but oh well, let's try out another game.
Perhaps I had to do a clean boot, but oh well, let's try out another game.
Turn back the turbo on.
Turn back the turbo on.
Well, for now.
And let's skip Memtest, it's always good. Well, for now at least.
Crashy, so much funsies.
Crashy, so much funsies. Interesting. Let me text check capture alignment. Alignment's still good. Let's try out another game. I think in order for Sealfeed to run without crashing is to, well, play it without any, I don't know, with minimal drivers. I think the Sound Blaster Vibra 16 actually keeps its settings when you soft reboot, but not hard reboot. But you still need to like first load the sound driver first, then you control alt delete to soft reboot, and then the card is still in a active state, so that you can so that DOS games can still use the sound card even without the driver.
What else?
What else to play?
Perhaps I could play Stunts.
Perhaps I could play Stunts.
It's a 3D racing game.
It's a 3D racing game. Not, yeah, it is a racing game. Look at that flat shaded 3D graphics. Oh, nice to know, High Treason. Interesting. Can't get rid of the banding. It must be the VGA to this video adapter, that converter I'm using. So what card to use? I think I'll just go with the Lamborghini. This game, I think, yeah, it was before Doom. 1990.
This game would definitely benefit from
This game would definitely benefit from actual analog joystick.
I remember weird things can happen if you like crash at the very.
I remember weird things can happen if you like crash at the very tip of that of the landing side of that ramp. And then I spinned out. Like you would, I remember if you landed on that exact spot, you would fly straight up.
I don't know why I cannot go over this anymore. Something weird just happens.
I don't know why I cannot go over this anymore. If something weird just happens.
We used to be able to
Physics.
tackle that corkscrew, but
I used to be able to tackle that corkscrew, but I could not anymore. Try again.
we used to be able to tackle that no problem. Now no more.
I used to be able to tackle that no problem. Now no more for some reason. Okay. Okay, there we go. There's actually versions of this game for the PC98, which had differences. I should have slowed down earlier. You can actually design custom tracks in this game. The mapping works is like tile based, pretty much. Why don't I try to beat my high score with an indie car?
Jump so high.
Jump so high, I crashed. Let's try again. This game has a bunch of weird physics bugs. Yeah, I beat my old score. Oh, Igitman used to be my handle before, or sort of nickname before Lameguy 64. So let's try out another game.
Oh, why not I play this weird? I don't know if any of you guys remember.
Oh, why not I play this weird? I don't know if any of you guys remember Ken's Labyrinth, the version 2.0 or 2.1 Epic Mega Games Enhanced version. Because I've actually made my own mod of it, so let's give that game a give that a shot. Not King Pack.
Immature mod you could find for Ken's Labyrinth, and the only one.
Probably the most immature mod you could find for Ken's Labyrinth, and the only one that I know.
I'm not sure. Say Sarge.
I'm not sure. Say Sarge and Monopolis.
Ken's Hack Labyrinth mod.
So install that bat to apply the Ken's Hack Labyrinth mod,
Run.
and
Features
then
different music.
run.
Some modified levels.
It features different music. Some modified levels and some modified graphics.
Welcome to Ken's Labyrinth.
I also replaced the starting portrait with some animal nonsense. Yeah, I made this mod back in 2011. Ken's Hack Labyrinth. Only the first episode got a mod. Got the modifications. And all of a sudden, and of course, you start out right in front of enemies. A bunch of them, in fact. I don't know. This is a pretty dumb mod, to be honest. This section of level actually looks like a billiard table, especially if you consider those 8 balls in the background there. Spinning away. You gotta be careful not to fall off the hole. And also, those who have watched Cardcaptor Sakura may recognize that yellow thing that replaces the little owl enemies. Want to take on the 8 balls. Ken's Labyrinth is actually one of the earliest, one of the first Wolfenstein 3D clones ever made. You can actually download it for free now, it's freeware. And that's how you play billiard. Well, there are no doors, but shootable walls are obvious. Here's this one. Truth is that you suck, of course. It's actually from a game over screen of one of Ken's games. When you only beat, it was in Breakout. His Breakout clone. I think the game is running at 360 by 240 mode. And you can see some garbage on the bottom, I just noticed. This is using chain mode. And this VGA to composite adapter actually it does support 300 old VGA modes like 320 by 240, 320 by 200, but it'll display garbage in the bottom because it doesn't fill the full 640 by 480 or 320 by 240 frame. And I put a kill me sign on those guys, you obviously cannot kill.
Oh, check this out, guys.
Oh, and check this out, guys. Best sprite modification I ever made. So basically, I put that pinky guy, give that pinky guy a pair of grapes for some reason. Oh, high score. Oh, and this is sort of a recreation of the first level of Vulcan. Sort of a prototype of Ken's Labyrinth. I actually have Vulcan here installed here. What I think about Vulcan, most notable difference with Vulcan is that it doesn't support strafing. And of course it's chock full of enemies. I'm best level designer. Yeah, let's put a crap load of enemies in this area. I used to call those flying blue heads emo faces. I was like a teenage brat back then. And there's still more enemies there. And I'm almost dead. Wow, that's that one dumb way to die. Obviously there's no secrets. Oh, and I also gave these witch guys a steering wheel. Because a friend of mine told me that this guy looks like something. Looks like he drives a taxi around. So I thought it'd be funny to make him hold the steering wheel. Oh, look at that! I don't know why in the later parts in this mod I put a lot of these beehive things. And the number of enemies in this room makes the frame rate really chug on this 386. This is going to take a while. Yeah, screw these guys. We'll go.
Nice job.
Monster Hotel. And I also modified this guy, sprite to say ouch every time you hit him. I don't think that was in the original. Oh, Crap Systems. That was before Madotech. It used to be under the name Crap Systems. Before that, Crap Developments. Because all the names that I wanted to go with have already been taken. by some rando. So I have to settle with something that's unlikely to be taken. That's satisfying. You shoot into a wall because the purple potion allows your shots to go through walls. This is probably one of the better designed areas. Looks sort of resembles some kind of hotel thing. Ouch. That's so satisfying. Because in every room there's a skelly man. And I replaced the denied sound effect with save it for later, which was the sound effect used before, kind of used in Walken and the first version of Ken's Labyrinth before it got enhanced with Epic Mega Games backing. Since I have missiles, when I the sound of the missile sounds like, it literally sounds like instead of I don't know, it's funny to me.
Save it, bro. Save it. Save it. Save it.
For one thing, Ken is very good at making music. No compass. And more pirates. Pretty much to summarize this mod is just basically large rooms full of enemies. And large rooms with even more enemies. So far, this is the only mod I know for Ken's Labyrinth. Even made using the original tools that Ken used to make levels for this game that he released for free on his website. Oh, gem. Oh no, gem. No gem. No gem. I think this is supposed to be like some kind of course do not enter, and then it's the only way to get the key. This section here is sort of like my attempt at suddenly enemies thing. When we try to get the gold key. Oh, wait, I need to do some fixing. Status bar. I didn't realize that because this is running at 360 by 240, since it's 240 vertical lines, the no, the converter box accepts it properly, accepts it correctly. Because if you run 320 by 200 or 640 by 480, it will display garbage on the bottom. Sorry for that. Well, there isn't much of importance down there anyway. You get pink guys with drifts, witch guys with steering wheels.
Nice job.
Angry Captors. I don't know what. I'm curious what I've done in this room. Oh, of course, there's a electric fan behind the player, so that he's facing the beehive. So the first instinct is to go backwards. But usually, you still have the gray cloak, which gives you invulnerability. Hover pirates. You got enemies falling already. Oh, 8 balls. There was actually a period where I got obsessed with these 8-ball things that one of my early games actually featured 8-ball. I mean, I featured 8 balls in my games for a while. Though I think the only game that featured it was my Whiskers 2 game, where it featured 8 ball. And also Walls too had 8 balls. Oh, mechas. I think it would have been. I wish I like changed the sprite with like a Gundam thing. That would be perfect. I have such weird ideas for mods for this game. Oh, then you got one of those gray guys. The only way to kill those guys is to get the purple cloak. Oh wow, look at that frame rate. So many face sprites. Oh, mummy guys. I wish this game had an auto map, so I think that would have beaten the challenge, defeated the challenge of this game. Also, I put a generous amount, very generous amount of gray cloaks. There's like so many of them. Oh, forgot the transition. There we go. Oops. Oh, I also need to fix the aspect ratio.
I didn't realize you had to like
I didn't realize you had to like click transition.
Sorry.
Fix that. I don't know, to apply the changes. Sorry. I actually sent this mod pack to Ken himself, the creator of this game, back when I used to email him back then. Of course, the next objective is not here. Those rooms are just full of spiders.
Save it for later.
Save it. Get the silver key. Not here. Orange this thing Ken's hack labyrinth. I think that was tile 255. It was an unused slot that was full of garbage. I also changed the warp sound to something that seems to be better. It's quicker to use a missile. Oh, of course, there's loads of these. But these guys will probably end up killing you. Ah. Yep, didn't survive. Oh man, there's a lot of bees. Not the bees. I think it's possible to do a sprite overflow in Ken's Labyrinth. I don't know what the sprite limit is. It's possible to cause an overflow with these beehives. Or maybe they stop spawning when it's full. By the way, to those who just came into the stream, this is not the original Ken's Labyrinth. This is a modified Ken's Labyrinth. Ken's Hack Labyrinth, to be exact. Take the air out because these bees are annoying. I think there was something in that secret I blew open. Uh-oh, these guys have escaped. Yeah, one up.
Ouch, ouch.
Those are horizon walls.
Nice job.
Oh, this map is very interesting.
Oh,
Basically, you have a set of light bulbs.
Basically, you have a set of light bulbs that form some kind of star. That map already gives it away and it runs like a slideshow. Of course, there's a crap load of enemies. The spaces. It looks cool though in the Kinsley Blend engine. It's really cool actually. I just realized. Didn't even found this mod to be pretty cool looking. This map. Oh, this is probably the lowest Kinsley Blend can go. Slideshow land. Flowland? More like slideshow land. The only complaints I've heard Ken say about, commented about this mod was there's so many beehives. Definitely, there's so many. Wow, look at that frame rate drop. The 386 is struggling. If I turn off turbo, it'll go even slower. Ah, look at that. Slideshow. One up. Oh, secret. It's a shortcut. Oh, a ball's coming. One of those pay doors. Uh-oh. I can only imagine how an 8-ball would shrivel and how things shrivel and when you just touch them with a purple cloak. Set. I think with purple cloak, it's actually vulnerable. You're actually left vulnerable. I mean, you're vulnerable to projectiles. In the fan, you have just a purple cloak. More spiders. And I guess this is pretty much what this mod is in a nutshell. Just crap big rooms full of enemies and not just that. There's occasional interesting room and yeah. That's where the 8 balls will spawn. Uh-oh. More mechs. Also, I love how the mech was the mech things don't look like they're like hand drawn. They kind of look like they're. I don't know if they're actually 3D animated or what. Ah. Oh, there's one in space that I haven't got. This is the don't touch me mode. Sometimes the enemy will still touch you. Aw, 8 ball wants to have a friend. More. Uh-oh, I'm almost dead. Man, I fell off fell into a hole. Oh, because there's enemies on both ends, it confuses the missiles. Now to use jelly bean cannon. And then they assemble. And there's one more level to this mod. I'm very bad map designer. And let me guess. I was expecting 8 balls to emerge. These mummy guys. I failed on my own mod. Oh. Not that I just use cheats or something. Oh well. Oh great. Oh, the converter box went out of sync a while there. What? Now I just need to adjust. Perhaps. Why not I do some art in 16-bit Windows? Why not I do some art in 16-bit Windows? Microsoft Windows version 3.11. This is Microsoft Windows version 3.11 for Windows 95. Windows for workgroups. The difference between Windows 3.1 and 3.11 is just that 3.11 has networking features. I still have some of the Netopia sound scheme here. I still have some of the Netopia sound scheme here. Yep, Netopia. And my capture system is spouting garbage. Password is blah blah blah. I'm going to try to draw something in Adobe Illustrator for fun. It's fine. I think it's fine. Let's try to draw something in Adobe Illustrator 4.1. I just recently installed this. I was considering like doing some full artwork on Windows 3.11 using this program. Let me see some samples how this works. If it's anything like how modern. And I don't have those fonts. What's important is the vectors. I haven't installed the the font pack.
I don't know if you could actually do
I don't know if you could actually do filled strokes.
It takes ages.
Looks like it's in wireframe, and it takes ages to render this particular design. Good thing I'm using my PS2 to serial mouse adapter that works a lot smoother than modern, than old ball mouse. Program just crashed. Uh-oh. Let's kill it. They need to install the font pack soon. Even though I don't really need it. Let's try this one.
Look at that rendering speed.
Oh, look at that rendering speed.
I actually like this type of rendering speed. It's so cool.
I actually like this type of rendering speed. It's so cool. The slow render.
Actually pretty capable looking.
It's actually pretty capable looking. I mean, it seems pretty powerful, Illustrator, for its time.
So when you're drawing your design, it'll be just wireframe.
So when you're drawing your design, it'll be just wireframe.
Yeah, simply because computers didn't have. It was actually very common,
That,
especially in 3D
simply
modeling,
because
where you
computers
only
didn't have.
wireframe.
It was actually very common, especially in 3D modeling, where you only have wireframe when you're editing. And then to verify, you
render
you
long time to complete.
you render, which takes
Oh, that's
long
nice.
time to complete.
I wish I can get the Mac as well, but
Oh, that's
those seem
nice.
a lot rarer in my
I
country.
wish I can get a Mac as well, but those seem a lot rarer in my country.
I love how this slow rendering works.
I love how this slow
Perhaps I
rendering
might
works.
challenge myself and actually try to draw a
Perhaps I might challenge myself and actually try to draw a piece of
dirty
Rule
material
34 or
Illustrator
whatever
on this
dirty
386.
material with Illustrator on this very 386. I need to just make the screen.
Though I'm going to need to be extra patient because
Though I'm going to need to be extra patient because it's so slow. So let's
work on make our own design.
work on make our own design.
Toolbox here. Oh yeah, because I don't have
What the? Where did the toolbox go? Oh yeah, because I don't have new. Where do I begin? Perhaps I start with an I.
Interestingly, it's actually pretty modern even.
Interestingly, It's actually pretty modern feeling.
How you plot the vectors.
Like the way how you plot the vectors.
I don't know how you close though.
I don't know how you close though. Okay, I think that
Manipulate that.
I'll manipulate that.
Oh, duplicate. Oh.
Correct. Oh, duplicate. Oh.
Probably the only artist using a very old version.
Probably the only artist using a very old
Actually
version
feels
of
quite
Illustrator.
usable. A bit sluggish.
Actually feels quite usable, albeit a bit sluggish.
How do we move?
Now let's move this. How do we move? Select all vertices there.
To be honest, I can actually draw a full illustration on this thing.
To be honest, I can actually draw a full illustration on this thing.
I can use arrow keys.
I can use arrow keys for fine tuning. So how will that look in?
So I need to duplicate this.
So I need to duplicate this.
Into front cell to back is T and B.
Going to front cell to back is T and B. Control Shift T, Control Shift B.
I wonder how you make it like a stroke.
I wonder how you make it like
Duplicate
a stroke.
this. Copy. and
Wanted to
paste.
duplicate this.
Okay.
Helps you copy and then paste. There we go.
How do you transform?
Then how do you transform?
Scale here. This scale.
Scale here, this scale.
Here.
Now we
Paint it
move
white.
this over here.
Style.
Paint it white. Paint
There.
style white.
Actually not too bad.
There.
Let's
Actually not too bad.
like,
Let's tweak it to make it look like a
lovely looking vector.
nice, lovely looking vector. Okay, let's undo that. You need to zoom in for extra precision.
It's actually quite workable. Maybe next time I stream, I will do an. I'll do an.
It's
art
actually
stream
quite
on the
workable. Maybe
386
next time I
using
stream, I'll do an art stream on the 386 using a very old,
This is tricky, so I need to
ancient
go
version of Illustrator.
wireframe.
Well, this gets tricky, so I need to go
This is slower.
wireframe. It's also slower.
So let's go the other eye.
Okay, let's draw the other eye.
Zoom up.
Zoom up.
I need to put in the pupil.
I need to put in the pupil. That's odd. Interesting nonetheless. Why would you need an expansion and an upgrade card that has the same speed as the built-in? Strange. I wonder if you could check like the node parameters to be like. Did I just duplicate? It's really slow feeling. Perhaps I could just play some MIDI. This dead silence gets boring.
Oh, that's my old media player application I made a long time ago in VB4.
Oh, that's my old media player application I made a long time ago in VB4. Visual Basic 4.0. There's some assorted MIDIs from Ken's stuff and sometimes build games like Untitled 3D. I really need something to listen to. Alt duplicates. Ah, there you go. That's how you move it, the individual nodes independently. You hold down control. There's no middle mouse button support. I'm probably the only one actually doing actual artwork on Illustrator, a very old version of Illustrator. As far as I'm aware. Why can't I take this as a node? Some Commander King music. This actually sounds much better. This MIDI rendition actually sounds much better than the original. Then Doom. Uh-oh.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Clearly, Power Max is much more powerful than the port in this 386.
Clearly, Power Max is much more powerful than this 386.
Wonder if IBM did not retire development of the power
Wonder if
architecture,
IBM did not
Apple would still use
retire
Power
development of the power architecture. Apple would still use PowerPC.
Imagine Apple was the biggest.
I imagine
customer for PowerPC
Apple
based
was the biggest customer for PowerPC based systems for IBM.
Now everything is
I imagine.
86.
Now everything is x86. It's boring now. Great.
I've also had a fair share of odd video cards that are built in.
I've also had a fair share of
capture interfaces
odd
like a Trident
video
card
cards
with
that have
a
built-in capture interfaces, like a Trident card with that built-in
but I couldn't get the
capture
part.
video capture facilities, but I couldn't get the video capture part working ever. Couldn't find the drivers, unfortunately.
You need to consult the manual of this program to
I need to consult the manual of this program to
learn the keyboard combinations and how to properly manipulate the
learn the keyboard combinations and how to properly manipulate the. So let's just zoom in and out. I could just do that. the stroke. Duplicate. And scale. Ah, okay. So how the scale works is first. Wait, just click this. You first click that, then you click pivot point, then there. Nifty. The flicker, the 60 hertz flicker of my monitor is kind of giving me a bit of an eye strain. So let me get this face design done.
I plan to draw like
We'll call it a day.
this version of Illustrator.
I plan to draw like furry hentai on this version of Illustrator because I think that would probably make me the only individual to ever go that far. Let's draw lewd on a 386 with period correct software. That'll be something. That's either just a joke or it might be a real thing. You'll just guess. My artist friends would probably be impressed that I managed to draw something on such a very old version of Illustrator. Wait. Why does it keep doing that, to be honest? It's not consistent. Uh-oh. It's as if it loses state on that. I don't know if that's a bug or a feature. So time to colorize this. Right. And let's vec preview. This actually looks pretty good for such an old program to be able to render. Just need to tweak these dies.
Oh crap! What happened?
Oh crap! What happened?
Ah, my vector design. Ah.
Ah, my vector design.
Gone.
Ah. It's gone.
No, the computer just powered off, but the switch is still on. Weird.
I don't know, the computer just powered off, but the switch is still on. Weird.
Perhaps I'll try again with a much better eye design.
Perhaps I'll try again with a much better eye
Ah,
design.
that's so weird. I should have saved.
Oh man, that's so weird.
As an artist,
should
you
have
must always
saved.
save every time you make a product.
As an artist, you must always save. Every time you make a something productive, always save. I noticed the latency of the stream is very big now.
Oh yeah, the Power Max.
Oh yeah, the Power
especially
Max.
The multi-core ones, they dump a lot of.
Especially the multi-core ones, they dump a lot of heat. I imagine it also consumes a lot of power.
Oh, what a bummer.
Oh, what a bummer.
Hey, wait, one more video? No, this video.
No, wait, no more video? No, there's video.
Oh, what a bummer. It was a really good design.
Oh, what a bummer. It was a really good design.
Save often.
Seriously.
Yeah,
This time I'm gonna save often.
Chromosome XL, this is Windows 3.1.
So yeah, Chromosome XL, this is Windows 3.11 before 95.
16-bit.
It's a much older version of Windows. 16-bit. It was still 16-bit at the time.
I mean, the kernel was still 16-bit even though not exactly.
I mean, the kernel was still 16-bit even though not exactly full 32-bit yet.
Yeah, there's still some power Mac. No, not power.
Yeah, there's still some power
PC-based
Mac.
machines,
No,
such as
not
the
Power Mac.
Talos workstation,
Power PC based machines
You
or
can
Power
buy
9
for-
such as the Talos
for a
workstations,
low price of
which you
$3,000
can buy for a low price of $3,000 US.
You can actually still design some pretty modern looking stuff on.
You can actually still design some pretty modern looking stuff on
Perhaps anything that can handle
1992
Bezier
Illustrator. Well, perhaps anything that can handle Bezier curves. Can handle modernish designs. Pause this and let's load up meaties again. That was really weird. Do music. Excuse me for that, there was actually a small part of the video that was... there was a bit of the video that got cropped out. Duke Nukem 3D. I guess so. Wii U is still running PowerPC. But I think it's just a tri-core version of the PowerPC 750 used, the same one used on the original Wii. Or you can just fix that by converting. If I were still using a ball mouse, this would have been completely unusable. But I have a laser mouse. I'm using a laser mouse. Just a generic PS2 laser mouse that I convert through an Arduino. And I've actually built my own converter. Save just in case.
possible the power supply encountered a short and it shut down itself.
It's possible the power supply encountered a short and it shut down itself. Even the old-fashioned AT power supplies have a short protection mechanism.
Usually it's caused by the hard
Perhaps
drive
that happened.
seizing up, but the hard drive is still rocking.
Usually it's caused by the hard drive seizing up, but the hard drive is still rocking. In fact, originally my 386 had a 520 MB map store, but I replaced it with a 520 MB Seagate because the map store drive was making concerning sounds. I don't think it's the motherboard, because the motherboard usually just takes in the 5 volts, 12 volts, and negative 12 volts from the AT. So it's most likely a short just happened. Or maybe the power supply is kinda shoddy, since, well, it's old. Oh wait, I forgot to duplicate. So, to duplicate, oops, you hold Alt. There we go.
Resize, I find the resize on this much better than Inkscape.
And to resize, I find the resize on this much better than Inkscape. Basically, you have to click a node first. And then, oh wait, no, that's a rectangle shape. Resize is over here. So, you select the shape you want to resize. Click the tool. Click where you want the
Axis to be there, and then you just drag
the axis to be. It's just there, and then you just drag anywhere. No. So I just click this and drag this. You have to select nodes first.
most 386s typically, most 486s typically have 16.
Most 386s typically, most 486s typically have 16 MB. They usually top out at 32.
You guys think it's impressive if I make like modernish art
Designs on a very old computer with a very old version of Illustrator? You guys think that's impressive to some degree? I need to work on the other eye.
I don't know if you could do like shape inverse.
I don't know if you could do like shape inverse, things like that, holes on a shape, for example. Oops, supposed to duplicate. I actually have my Vibro 16, the Vibro 16 in my 386. I actually managed to get it to work properly. Are you sure you're using the correct drivers? Wait, I'm gonna turn off the deflick because it seems to be hampering the resolution. There we go. likely notice. No, wait. There's a deinterlacer. You won't notice the interlace jitter. Creative, they're pretty crap at drivers. Even today, their modern cards, from what I heard, still had crap drivers. They're pretty much the ATI or AMD of sound hardware, pretty much. ATI is infamous for having buggy drivers. Creative is also infamous for buggy drivers. Now let's go and paint.
To be honest, I actually sometimes Windows 10 interface
it's very simplistic flat design. Kinda reminds me of 3.11 a little bit though. Oh, so it's all black. Let's correct this. Turn that white. There we go. Same here. There's no palette selector though, so coloring will be tough. I wonder if there's like a palette. Oh, there's a stroke option. I wonder if I could like invert. There's literally no palette, color palette. The coloring is going to be tough unless you have like a CMYK reference sheet. The old style.
I mean, basic art programs like Paint even has a palette.
Basic art programs like Paint even has a palette. Illustrator doesn't. The Sound Blaster 16 suffers from DMA bug, if I remember correctly. That's perhaps the reason why. Some games also had trouble with audio on the Sound Blaster 16 on my 386. What do you guys think? Does it look very modernish for something drawn in in this particular version of Illustrator? Looks pretty gorgeous. Alright, I try to draw the head. I'll see if what strokes look like. I don't think you can do variable stroke, just like in Inkscape you cannot do variable with just plain strokes. It looks visually sharp. It's very modern. I'll just stick to using fill strokes for the strokes because it allows for nice looking variable strokes and nice line points, not pointy lines. I also have a OPTI 82C929 that has a genuine OPL3, but if I remember correctly, the channels are swapped. Like, sounds on left, sounds comes out on right, and right comes out on left. And the Sound Blaster is in the other way as well. So I probably need to do a hardware mod to fix that. Let me try if I could do inverted stroke cut. I don't think you could really do that in this version. And this is for text. I wonder if this can render like very high resolution with anti-aliasing when you export. 24-bit color. I think it will be look alias as heck.
Sound Blaster Vibra 16 actually has an interesting.
My Sound Blaster Vibra 16 actually has interestingly enough a integrated OPL3, as in it's embedded into the Vibra 16 chipset, and it even bears the Yamaha OPL logo to signify that. So I need to fix this. I don't know if you guys can tell that I have quite a drawing skill from this, judging by how this vector is turning out. Let's see how this turns up. Save. As in the OPL3 is embedded into the chipset? Interesting. Nice to hear. I thought the Vibra 16s often had those. But most Vibra 16s usually have the crappy CQM. CQM is bad to those who knows how ad-lib's supposed to sound like. But they're actually not too bad. At least they're better than some clones I've heard. But some people just make a big deal out of them for some reason. I think I need to do some adjustment on this eye. There's no lasso yet. There we go. Then
sometimes does shortcuts. Notice that chunk there doesn't look as
I noticed the program sometimes does shortcuts. Notice that chunk there doesn't look as clean as it's supposed to.
Maybe we add more midis.
Maybe we add more midis.
I don't know if Kai is still on here. I'm gonna go play
I
some
don't know if
Toho.
Kai is still on here. I'm gonna go play some Toho because I'm bored.
Some Toho music. I don't have much.
Some Toho
Cannot
music.
even
I don't
play
have
mod
much.
files because this thing is not fast enough.
Cannot even play mod files because this thing is not fast enough. So
There's not even a random shuffle.
there's not even a random shuffle.
Music.
I'll just go play some Duke music. When I go back to wireframe, I want to be able to draw some of the hair.
Neil HX86, have you tried drawing something?
By the way, Neil HX86, have you tried drawing something on Illustrator on one of your Macs that you have it installed? I'm curious.
I love that slow render.
Preview. I love that slow render, it's so cool. What the heck happened here? Oh. I really should consider downloading more MIDIs to load here for my next retro art sessions. Perhaps. I see. But what do you think of what I've drawn so far with Illustrator? Is it quite impressive to do on such an old program? I need to finish this bit of hair first before I do a preview render. perhaps you need some kind of art ability to draw something in Illustrator with any version of it at least. Preview. Save it. I'm gonna control some layering. Send to back. Okay, I also need to draw fill for this area here. So it can over. Oh wait, I'm supposed to draw on the hair. Obscure this bit here. Let's go back to wireframe. Oh yeah. I think I saw briefly that video of Hydration doing video editing on a bloody 486. If you thought video editing on Pinion 4 HD isn't bad enough, why don't you go try it out on a 486? Though if you're using the period correct software, it's actually not too bad. Obviously you can't do as much as today's software, but it can actually still do the job. I think during the early to mid 2000s, I have a good feeling that during that time period, TV stations and other multimedia companies here in the Philippines were still using SGI workstations, because we didn't always get to afford or have access to the latest technology. So it's very probable that there were companies in the Philippines using SGI machines for video editing, and perhaps some Sun as well. thinks in the back only goes to the bottom. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty. Ooh. It actually looks awesome.
Seriously.
And this is on a 1992 386. Seriously, it's actually so good. You would think it's rendered. This is actually drawn on a modern machine, but nope. This is done on a 386. It's slow and cumbersome, but once you get the hang of it and actually tame the software, it can actually do quite a lot.
So the channel, speaking of that,
the channel Silicon Classics actually showed videos of one of those indie machines from Activision that they use for motion capture. And then there was a video from that channel showing motion capture sequences for a golf game. Perhaps the reason why they're still using indies is because they cannot afford to buy the latest technology. Late in his life, I suppose. Or maybe they had motion capture equipment that only worked on those indies for a while. I really love the slow render of this application. Uh-oh. Now let's draw a nice little smile. We have to go to because it's so slow. I wonder what kind of feedback I would get when I post this on DeviantArt. Perhaps I might get a veteran who used to work with Illustrator to comment on this. Unlikely, but it's possible. Ah, I need to raise it. Bring it to front. Is that I set that to black already? Then I need to make it more curved. Oh. There we go. I actually own a DTLH 2000 development board set used for PS1 game development. I have it installed in a PS1 on a Dell Optiplex GX110 because it's the best machine I have that I can fit it on. It's a little bit buggy on it, but for the most part it's actually very usable. It's only buggy when you're like trying to start the SN file server, but it works. I actually managed to debug some custom assembly routines on that thing. Assembly with a DTLH 2000 is a breeze because you can, especially you can debug. I suppose I need to put like just like a variable. Go to artwork only.
I don't know how to join
this.
I don't know how to
join. Oh, I wonder how you join nodes together. They're much better. Someone ended up sliding that somewhere random.
I wonder if there were versions of the N64 development board that you can fit on.
I wonder if there were versions of the N64 development board that you can fit onto a more powerful SGI machine, like an Indigo.
I'm not very familiar with how SGI accessories work though.
I'm not very familiar with how SGI accessories work though. Freehand, rotate, reflect, shear, blend, split path. There we go. I want to make this. supports clean delete. Like you delete a node, but it doesn't delete the whole line segment. Oh, that deleted more than just a line segment.
Now that deletes a whole segment.
Now that deletes a whole segment. Okay, there we go.
Okay, I guess this is enough for today. I want to do.
Okay, I guess this is enough for
Oh,
today.
327.
I want to do. What time is it in my area? Wow, 3:27.
Do some corrections on this.
I just need to do some corrections on this. Put this in canvas.
And then
And then
view.
view fit artwork in window. No,
Save.
fit page in window.
Preview.
Save
So yeah.
and
That's
preview.
what I'm able to conjure up.
So yeah, that's what I've been able to conjure up in OG Illustrator for the meantime.
So yeah, I guess this is enough for today. I might do another session like
So
this.
yeah, I guess this is enough for
by
today. I might
Sunday in
do
my time or
another
Saturday
session like
in
this
my time.
by Sunday in my
Hong
time
Kong
or
Standard
Saturday if
Time.
you're behind Manila or Hong Kong Standard
Yeah,
Time.
is actually Illustrator can
So
actually do
yeah,
quite a
it's
bit.
actually
It's
Illustrator can
impressive
actually
that an
do
old application can
quite a
draw,
bit.
can
It's
handle
impressive
modern
that an old
modern
application
designs.
can draw,
It's
can
more or less
handle
a
modern looking
example
designs.
that
It's more or less a example that
style is independent
that
of the technology. Like, I mean,
style is
if you have a
independent of the
decent
technology.
style that
Like
doesn't focus
I mean,
much on detail,
if you have a
and it's just
decent
focusing
style
more
that doesn't focus
on
much on detail
nice looking
and instead focuses more on
designs that don't focus much
nice
on
looking
detail,
designs that don't focus much on
technology
detail.
independent.
That style is pretty much technology independent,
Almost, well, as in you cannot.
more or less.
Some styles simply cannot.
Well,
be
almost.
translated
Well, as
well,
in you
if at
cannot.
all on, like, say,
Some styles simply
low
cannot be
resolution
translated
screen
well,
modes,
if at all, on like say low resolution screen modes at
but
like
on a
320 by
machine that's
240.
capable of SVGA,
But
I know,
on a
or
machine
maybe
that's capable of SVGA,
adopt
I
any
know,
style on a
or
program
maybe
that
is,
still
you
handle it.
can
Illustrator
adopt
an
any
old version
style
of
on a
Illustrator
program that
can
still can
do it.
handle it. And Illustrator can, an old version of Illustrator can actually still do it
No, I'm
quite
just
well.
talking out of my butt.
I don't know, I'm just talking out of my
Basically,
butt.
you don't really need the latest version of an application to
But
make
basically, you don't really
nice
need the
looking.
latest version of an
Just need a good
application to make
art
something
style to work with. You
nice
don't need,
looking.
like,
You just need a
the
good
most powerful
art
computer
style to work
hardware
with.
or
You don't need like the most
sophisticated
powerful
rendering
computer
engines to
hardware
make
or
awesome
the most
pieces of art.
advanced,
It'll look
sophisticated
nice.
rendering engines to make
Like, for example,
awesome
mobile
pieces
real
of art.
estate
It'll look
rendering looks
nice.
but
like for example photorealistic rendering, it looked nice, but it can get boring. You keep seeing that all the time.
Yeah, I guess that's pretty much it for this Lameguy stream.
So yeah, I guess that's it, pretty much it for this Lameguy stream.
Watching through it, I had quite
I
a
hope you
blast
enjoyed
drawing this,
watching through it. I had quite a blast drawing this vector and Windows 3.1 on 386. I had quite a blast. I really do. So yeah, I guess that's pretty much it.
See ya, and thanks for watching.
And yeah, see ya, and thanks for watching.